Earlier this week, we told you about the criminal charges filed against a state Senate candidate for food stamp fraud. Tonight, KTV 11's Liz Raines sat down with the head of the state's fraud control unit to find out how often it happens and how investigators find out about it. Liz.
Well, Emily, it's a statewide unit made up of 13 investigators. 9 of them are based here in Anchorage, with 2 in Fairbanks, 1 in Kenai, and 1 in Wasilla. They're equipped with special access to databases and subpoena powers to investigate potential fraud, but they rely on tips from the community to flag it. An alleged case of welfare fraud has become high profile in Anchorage after felony charges were filed against state Senate candidate Bekah Halat and her husband earlier this month. The state says the couple has illegally received more than $10,000 in food stamps in the last year and a half. Investigators found the couple had a bank account that contained between $35,000 and $40,000 at the time, a find they made only after Halat filed for office. An anonymous citizen tipped the state's fraud unit to the case after Halat solicited political support at the person's home.
We do have a statewide unit. We are, getting tips on a daily basis.
Chris Lauer is chief of the state's fraud control unit, the team of investigators behind the charges. He says they get between 20 and 25 tips a day, many of which are anonymous.
Yes, a lot of people don't like to have their name out there as being an informant. So you have to offer them that capability, or you may not get the information anyway.
The good news, he says, is that the percentage of actual fraud is pretty low. Last year, the Fraud Control Unit launched 430 investigations, but only found 97 cases to be fraudulent. And not every case found fraudulent results in criminal charges like the ones Halat faces. Lauer says it depends on how much money was allegedly stolen. If it was more than $5,000 from a single program, the division recommends the Department of Law seek criminal charges.
We could send almost everything that we have to the Department of Law, but then we would overload them, so we just don't do that.
In Halat's case, her family allegedly claimed more than twice that. And investigators say Halat admitted to being untruthful in her family's food stamp application. Her case will now go before a judge, a case in which a candidate put herself in the public eye and caught the attention of state investigators. Now, to give you some context on the Fraud Control Unit, last year investigators reported collecting about $500,000 that had been paid out to people who should not have been eligible for public assistance. Emily?
All right, thanks so much, Liz.